from the same position, same spot. That way, you check your pictures, and if you catch something in one of your pictures and not in the other ones, the odds are you may have caught something. So that's what I always did, in concession. So I did that. I didn't think nothing of it. I go home. I even forgot about him. It was like 2 months later, and I'm going back. I know it wasn't even me. It was a friend of mine. And she said, "Hey, did you look at your pictures?" I just happened to throw a bunch of pictures up because I got so much stuff. I don't have time. I throw them out there, put them in my group, say, "Hey, if you guys find something, let me know." It helps the members of the groups. It gives them something to do. And it makes them feel part of it, and it takes a lot of load off me, too. So anyway, one lady says, "Hey, look at these pictures." And I looked, and I am telling you, I caught the face of this lady plain as day, a spirit of a lady. It's mind-blowing. And that was probably two of the best evidence of pictures I've ever caught, because sometimes they just don't come up or they don't show up or a blur or whatever. But these were, it was just irrefutable. And there was nobody else in the room except two people behind me, and they were behind me. And that was probably the best two picture evidence I've got was just last year.
Now, the image, was this a face, not the whole body or anything like that?
The one was a face of a lady, and her hair was all messed up, and her face, you could see it plain as day. Usually I have them on my timeline somewhere. And then the other one was the full body of the guy. You could see him plain as day. It's just an amazing picture. It's kind of a creepy picture of one in the cemetery because you can see the old headstones, and he's probably. It's funny because the picture looks like he's far away, but he's not. He was only maybe, I'm going to say 50 feet from me, but it looks like he's farther away in the picture. And he's full body. You could just see him. He just sticks right out. It was just mind blowing. And the other one was just a head, basically like the shoulders up of the lady, like her body wasn't there. It was just her shoulder up and her head, but her face, you could see her facial features. And her hair was all stringy and wiry. It was just bizarre picture.
How old did she look? What, older lady, a younger lady?
She probably looks, I would say, 35 to 45.
Oh, younger. Interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. And now the guy, I'm pretty sure the guy was in the cemetery. I think it was that custodian. He was a black guy. I don't know how old he was supposed to be. I forget now. I did research on it afterwards. But he was a caretaker of that cemetery, and he died in the 1800s. And supposedly he's still there because it's something that was comfortable to him, and he liked being there, you know what I mean? So it was something that was familiar to him, and that's why he's not a bad guy. No, he likes to hang out there, that's all.
Well, I can think of, when I depart, I can think of other places like maybe the mall, maybe the beach, maybe at McDonald's, but no, I wouldn't want to be in a cemetery oh, wow. And he evidently didn't go to the light, and he's still there. Maybe he's watching over the graves that he planted.
That's exactly what I think. Exactly for what you just said. He's still caretaker of the cemetery. It was something he was familiar with, and it made him feel comfortable. And people don't cross over for a whole plethora of reasons. Maybe because their religion says he might go to hell, or maybe they're attached to someone, some place, something. There's a whole different reason why somebody might not cross over. And next thing you know, if you don't go when your window's there, you could be stuck here until somebody helps you cross over, or who knows? We don't have the answer. We can only speculate, but that's what I think anyway.
Well, maybe he, when you pass on, you're told that, you can go into the light and go into heaven, or one of the levels of heaven, or the other place, where my Aunt Bertha went. But seriously, maybe they have a choice to go into heaven and be reincarnated. And maybe he didn't want to be reincarnated because, I've had so many people on the show. Mary Joyce, we were talking about reincarnation here just last week. Like young little kids, from like about 2 years old to about 7 years old, remembering past lives. So I got a funny feeling when you pass on, maybe you're given the choice, if where you want to go. Do you want to go and maybe come back again, or do you come back again to you solve whatever issue you had?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We can only really truly speculate, but you could be right. I don't know what the answer is. I wish I did, but I do think you have a choice. I do believe you got a choice to either go or not go, and I do think if you don't go, I think that my own belief, I think you might be stuck here for a while until you can have somebody help you, show you the way to go. And
but you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know for a while because time probably doesn't exist to ghost and people that it didn't pass on because they seem to be either that you got the type of effect where it's like a record. It's been recorded. It plays out over and over and over again, the same routine, the same thing. I don't think that is a ghost, but the ghosts that haunt the house or knock on walls or move things and like that. Now they're the ones that we know that didn't, for some reason, go to the light and go to heaven or wherever you go.
Right. Now I can tell you, in my world, you have what we call, in my world, we have what we call residual. And to me, that's not even a haunting. They're not spirits. I kind of call them ghosts because it's just something like a loop that plays over and over. It could be because of a lot of granite, limestone, or water, or just conditions are right where it's left an imprint in time on the building or land or whatever. And certain conditions make it just like a loop. That, to me, that's because it's not intelligent. You know what I mean? And it's not predictable when it could come around. You never know. Now, then there's intelligent hauntings where it's spirits that have either they haven't crossed over, and maybe they're trying to get somebody's attention to help them cross over, or maybe they were just bad people in life and are worse people in death. I mean, I've come across all kinds of things like this in my lifetime. And shadow people, I've seen more shadow people in my lifetime than I could shake a stick at, more than anything.
Well,
I
had my one experience when I was a little kid up in Oakland, California, at my grandmother's apartment, which again was an old apartment back when I was a kid because I'm 67, and what I remember is it was a huge. Of course, it might not have been that huge, but to me, it was a huge bedroom. With a glass bedroom door, the old style, everything. A walk-in closet, which the bed actually folded down out of the closet. And I remember being in that bed by myself and, and I with a little nightlight in there. And all of a sudden, I saw this shadow come out of the closet and kind of like all the way around the room. And I came to a stop a couple times and then kept going around and then went back in the closet. And I told my grandmother, Sally, that, hey, I'll sleep on the couch anywhere else. I just couldn't handle it.
Well, that could be quite traumatic. Jeez, I don't know if you'd want to sleep. But did you ever sleep back in there again?
No, actually, because my uncle at the time lived in Oakland also with I think his 7 boys and his wife. Because I made such a big stink calling up my parents and saying I can't. And next thing I know, I was over at my uncle's place, and that's another story. But I tell you, my grandmother in the morning, she said, this is haunted. And, she told me that when she lived there for, like 30 some years, could you imagine living in an apartment for 30 some years? And she was saying that the previous tenant passed away in there. So who knows who with that, that shadow figure was.
Exactly. You never know. And that's the thing, people don't realize it, but, if you're a psychic medium, you kind of know these things, but there are spirits around us all the time. They're just, I bet there's more spirits at Walmart walking around than anywhere. I mean, they're just everywhere. And, not everybody crosses over, but not all spirits are bad spirits. Some of them, they just didn't cross over. Some of them didn't even know they died, maybe. That's what I mean. There's a whole plethora of reasons why they might not have crossed over. And, shadow people, in my world, not all shadow people are evil. I mean, I've seen spirits that are shadow people, and I've seen shadow people that are truly rotten, evil. Now, that kind of reminds me. Maybe I've told you this before. I think I was only 16 years old or 17, and there was this girl I wanted to take her out, and she said, "Yeah, I'll go out with you, but nobody can't tell nobody." That's okay, sure, what I care. So anyway, we go out and get a few beverages, and we're out in the middle of nowhere, and I'm telling you, Gary, Dirt Road's Bigfoot country. I figured, that's a good place to, get some quality time in and relax, and we're sitting out there in the middle of nowhere at 2 a.m. on this old oil well road. And she said, "Oh, I got to go to the bathroom." I said, "Well, you just, find a tire or a tree. I don't know what to tell you." So anyway, we're both doing that. And we're both looking forward straight ahead. And I can see, Gary, these like 3 shadow figures come from right to left across this road, out of the woods and across the little dirt oil well road. And it's funny because they're walking like slow, but it was like stop motion. It was weird. Their motions were weird, but when they got in the middle of the road, they stopped. And their heads turned like real slow to the left, and it looked right at us, Gary. They looked right at us. It was about 40, 50 feet ahead of us, and I'm looking down, and I'm like, I'm like, oh God, don't let her see this. No, don't let her see this. And I'm looking at her. She's looking right at him. I'm like, oh no. She jumps up. I think she spun right out of her bitches and just, "We're getting out of here right now." She got in the car, and I'm like, oh Lord, this is going south. So here, and then the kicker was, now we're in the car, and there's only one way out of this place. That means I have to drive through them. This was a nightmare, Gary. I got to tell you. So, and she's having I don't know, some kind of seizure of panic. So anyway, I put it in gear. I put my old Chevelle in gear and floored it, and we went right through them and got out of there. But yeah, that day went real south, and they on 3 shadow people. But that was, I got to tell you, when they walked out there and stopped and turned their heads and looked at us, the hair on my neck went straight up, and I was like, oh Lord, don't let her see that. But she did.
Well, I always wonder if the ghost, sometimes what I've heard a lot of stories, through the years doing paranormal shows, that, a lot of people claim that the ghosts really don't see them. Then I hear from other people that the ghosts actually can see them. And, again, people with their recorders actually, have gotten sounds, from deceased people, ghost. I'm just wondering. I mean, you mentioned Walmart. You're probably right. The people that pass on, maybe they don't realize they're dead.
Exactly. A lot of people, maybe tragically or very suddenly, and a lot of people, they might not even know they passed on or they're dead. And then, it's hard to fathom this in your brain, but imagine that happened to you. You're living, breathing, talking. Next thing you know, you died so dramatically and fast, you don't realize it. Now, your consciousness is still here, like everything's normal, but yet you don't have the same time relevance as everybody else. But over a period of time, it must drive you crazy because it's like everybody's ignoring you, or something's off, or something's wrong, or it's got to be mind-boggling anyway.
Well, from everybody I've talked to about it, then the subject, I don't think time exists to them. So, our hour to them is maybe nothing. And so they don't even realize that. But could you imagine being passed on, like you die in your sleep at night, and you don't realize it. The other thing, I've been reading studies lately that, your brain, when you die, a whole bunch of people don't realize, when you, and this is going to get gross, and I'm sorry, but when you die, like you're in your deathbed, you've been sick, and now you're going to die in the next, hour or two. Have you heard the people how they labor to breathe? And all this stuff. What your body is doing is basically shutting down. And one thing that your brain does, it tells your lungs, to shut down before you die, and it purposely suffocates you. And a lot of people don't realize that. That's what happens in a lot of them. That the brain, okay, tells the the lungs, okay, stop working, and it literally suffocates the people.